I got Lamar Jackson. I don't know what to do. I just picked up Alex Smith. Week 12 Thursday games. Texas won over the Lions. Skins won over the Cowgirls. Ravens and Steelers game is moved to 1:15 Sunday. I got Lamar Jackson. Of course, I got the Colts beating the Titans. Start Corey Davis. Start AJ Brown. Start Michael Pittman. Sit Ty and Zach Pascal. Start Henry. Jonathan Taylor. I don't know, man. But I never really started rookies in their first year. I don't really do that. So start Tannehill and Rivers, or maybe sit Tannehill. Colts defense allow the third fewest fancy points to quarterbacks. So that's a game time decision, especially with Lamar Jackson being out now. Then you got the Bears versus the Packers Monday Night Football. I'm gonna go with my Bears. I'm not gonna go against my team, so we're just gonna leave that at that. Make sure you add fancy football advice or fancy football addiction, all sports 24/7, 365 days, Sports Mafia and Gridiron Fan Zone on Facebook. Browns versus the Jags. I'm hoping the Browns win. I need the Browns to win on that one. Uh, Jags allow over 25 fantasy points to quarterbacks. You gotta look at the weather also. Make sure you look at the weather. Since there's three people in here. Hey y'all. Good morning. Putting you in timeout. I don't know what you saying. I got the Browns beating the Jags. Again, look at the weather. Sit all Jags quarterbacks. Laviscus Sinote, sit him, start Chubb, start Hunt, start James Robinson. He might want to start Rashard Higgins. I don't know. Then I got the Cards beating the Patriots. Again, you gotta look at the weather. You gotta look at Kyle Murray. Look at his shoulders to see if he good to go. Uh, Larry Fitzgerald's on the COVID list. I said Isabella, start Hopkins, start Christian Kirk, start Jacoby Myers, start sit Nikhil Henry and Bird, Drake and Edmonds, start James White, and start maybe Cam Newton because he has 9 rushing touchdowns this season. So it's iffy on Kyle Murray. You got the Chargers versus the Bills. I got the Bills. Keenan Allen, Mike Williams. Go ahead and start them. Uh, I heard Kalen Balaj might be injured, so I'm gonna have to give you guys another update later. Austin Eckler might be back week 13. Chargers allow 19 fantasy football points to running backs and start Zach Moss. Maybe start uh, Henry Hunter Henry 6 targets last 3 games, so that's going up. Bills allow the third most fantasy football points to tight ends, so that's a plus right there. Then you got the Finns against the Jets. Um, I hope the Jets get their first win. You don't really want that on somebody, so I'll go with the Jets. Two is playing. Start Savan Ahmad. Start Frank Gore, maybe. Excuse me, sit Frank Gore because Miami's defense is pretty good. Giants versus Bengals. I'm gonna go with the Giants because I don't know too much about Ryan Finley. With quarterbacks for the Bengals. Anybody that knows about Ryan Finley, put it in the comments, please. Start Daniel Jones. Bengals allow 22 fantasy football points to running backs. Will Ryan Finley check down? No Joe Mixon. Start Darius Slayton. Sterling Shepard. Start Tyler Boyd. Sit AJ Green. You got sit T Higgins. Again, I don't know about Ryan Finley. Panthers versus Vikings. I take the Panthers. Vikings allow 20 fantasy football points to quarterbacks. Start Kirk Cousin. PJ Walker could basically have a good game. All depends on how Teddy Bridgewater is. Panthers allow 25 fantasy football points to running backs. Vikings allow 15 fantasy football points to running backs. Start Robbie Anderson, start DJ Moore, start Curtis Samuel, start Justin Jefferson, start Mike Davis, you're going to start Alvin Cook. Any of the top players that, like Dalvin Cook, just go ahead and start them. I shouldn't have to say anything. If I have to say anything, then you might not want to be in fantasy football. Raiders versus Falcons. I'll go with the Raiders. Start Derek Carr, sit Matt Ryan because no Julio Jones, start Calvin Ridley, start Russell Gage, sit Henry Ruggs and Hunter Renfro, start Nelson Aguilar, start Josh Jacobs, start Todd Gurley, definitely. The Raiders allowed 22 fantasy football points to running backs. Atlanta allows 15 fantasy football points to running backs. And Atlanta gives up 27 fantasy football points to quarterbacks. Up next, you got the Rams versus Niners. I'm gonna go ahead with the Rams. Don't know about Debo Samuel. Start Brandon Ayuk. Start Cooper Cup and Woods. If Raheem Mostert is back, of course you're gonna start him. Hopefully, Niners allow 17 fantasy football points to running backs. Start Melvin Gordon. He has a touchdown upside, so there you go. Start Jared Cook. It's easier to throw on the Niners than it is to run, I guess. Broncos versus Saints. I'm going the Broncos. Hopefully, everything's up in the air with the Broncos with Taysom Hill. Broncos allow 17 fantasy football points to running backs. Saints allow 12.5 fantasy football points to running backs. So again, keep that in mind. You got the Chiefs versus the Bucks. Uh, I'm gonna go with the Bucks. I need the Chiefs to lose a couple times. Bucks allow 13.5 fantasy football points to running backs. Oh, this is gonna be a good one. So I'm gonna leave that kind of open. Seattle versus the Eagles. Eagles allow 17 fantasy football points to running backs. You're gonna start DK. You're gonna start Lockett. You're gonna start Jalen Rager. You're gonna start Travis Fulgham. Chris Carson, if he's playing, start him. If not, Carlos Hyde, Mike Sanders. And then for the Monday night game against the Bears, against the Packers, the Bears are going to whoop that ass. Huh. Let's see. Start David Montgomery. Packers allow 25 fantasy football points to running backs. Start Aaron Jones. Sit Jamal Williams. And sit A.J. Dillon. You're going to start Allen Robinson, even though I don't know why the Bears not going to give him an extension. But good luck. Happy Thanksgiving. Go Notre Dame. Beat University of North Carolina. Peace.